Hello and welcome. This is Fireworks on TVC News. The political atmosphere in Ondo State prior to the 2019 general election cannot be forgotten in a hurry. The disaffection within the All Progressives Congress at the time may have led to its loss at the presidential and National Assembly election. This is perceived as a sign of what is to come by some. Is it? My guest today is a key actor of that season in 2019 and perhaps of many more seasons to come. Welcome to the program. I am Bukola Samuel Wemimo. Welcome once again. My guest today is the Chairman, Media and Publicity of the Eyitayo Jegede Campaign Organization. That's ahead of the Ondo election. But of course, he's also a popular Ondo politician. Mr. Benson Enikuomehin, welcome to the program.
It's a pleasure being here.
Okay, so let's start from the very beginning, or what may be a precursor to the current position that you hold now. In 2018, you defected from the All Progressives Congress to the PDP. And prior to that time, you were Governor Rotimi Akeredolu's Senior Special Assistant on media.
On oil and gas.
On oil and gas, I beg your pardon.
Very well.
Tell us what informed your defection.
There is always a policy trust upon which a government would function. You have issues that the government had discussed with the people, the kind of offer the government has made to the people, and for which the people will hold that particular government accountable. Where there is a derailment or a derailing of those kind of, maybe we will call it a pledge to the people, it behoves you, if you advise and you counsel, and whoever is at the side is not willing to listen, to take a bow. And in my own case, my appointment was on the 18th of April, 2015. Prior to that time, I had worked assiduously for him. In fact, I was his returning agent for that particular election. And we brought on board, we set up these various committees to address the various sectors that the government may look into: education, health, social welfare, agriculture, and all those things were brought on board. Not long that we submitted our reports, one of the jokers that I received was the increment of the school fees from 30,000 in Adekunle Ajasin University, not to 50 or 70 or 80,000, but well above 200,000 naira that students were made to pay. It was a shocker. This is a state wherein people were finding it difficult to pay 30,000 naira for the school fees of their children. And a man just suddenly, without a holocaust happening somewhere, that will make you to just wake up and say, no, this is what I will do.
When you talk about derailment, perhaps it's understandable, but really, if we were to, cast our minds back yet again to, that a political season prior to 2018, you also defected from your current political party, PDP, to 2018. So when you talk about derailment
not 2018.
Prior to 2018, you were also in the PDP.
That was...
In 2016?
No, let me put the record straight. I was a member of the PDP.
Before you defected to the All
I joined the
Progressives Congress.
PDP precisely on the 30th of December 2001. And I remained in that party until sometimes in 2012. What was it that happened in 2012? As at that time, I had left office as the commissioner on the governing board of the Niger Delta Development Commission. And my party, the PDP, was was because we lost. Things had fragmented. There was the faction of Dr. Gagu, there was the faction of Tayo Alasho Adora, and I was in the Tayo Alasho Adora group, and a good number of us were. So for those of us who were in Tayo Alasho Adora group, things went worrying, and there was no reconciliation. We couldn't make headway, and at that particular time, I felt if we can't make headway, because two drivers to be in a boat, it will cause crisis. And at that particular point, the government that was on board then was Dr. Olusegun Mimiko's government.
And indeed, when things got awry yet again in the All Progressives Congress in 2018, you left. According to reports, you left not particularly as a result of things going awry, but because you were dissatisfied with the position you were given as Senior Special Assistant on Oil and Gas, which really was just an office in nomenclature, but without much responsibility, not necessarily because of derailment.
That would not be the truth. So many things will come in place before you take a decision. I'm not a person who jumps from one place to the other. But if I'm not finding a system comfortable, definitely I won't die there. Now, in 2018, you recall, that was just a year and some few months that I left. For 12 solid months, from November 2017 to November 2018 when I left, my table was as clean as this. There was no single memo or no single document that passed through my table at all. I was senior special assistant to the governor on oil and gas. There was no commissioner on oil and gas. By that reason, I should ordinarily be responsible directly to Mr. Governor. And all I found out was that activities that were meant for my office were handled by some other persons, strange persons altogether, not connected to this. Now, please take note. When the governor spoke to me on the 16th of April, 2017, that Benson temporarily hold this office as SSA Oil and Gas because you had been commissioner on the governing board of the NDDC, you will understand this area. Oh, there's nothing bad about it. But even if you had said special assistant, I wouldn't have been angry, because what matters, it is your ability to bring life into the assignment you are given. I told the governor, and I told the deputy governor, I was not interested in becoming a commissioner in the state. I said it, and I am on national and international TV now that they can hear me. I told them, I said I was not interested. So when he gave that office to me, I was functioning in that respect. I did the memo to him, which I handed them to he asked me to bring out the things I felt I could do. And then I did the memo, schedule of duties, handed over to him. He gave it to the then head of service, and then to the chief of staff, Mr. Ali, to look at. The two of them vetted the things I did, and they said, nothing to correct. This was apt. As soon as I got into that office, everything that I wrote was being obeyed in depression. And then, when you get to a man's house, by around 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night, and it tells you by this time yesterday we have slept, the meaning is simple. Just go home. So for 1 year, that particular table was a tabula rasa, clean, nothing, no memo. Every meeting that was being held, of which the senior special assistant of the governor should be present on oil and gas, I will be hearing them on the news, coupled with what I have just told you. That I could manage. All I could have just sat down there, be collecting the token that I was being paid, but I felt...
So it's accurate to say that you left because you were dissatisfied with your the circumstances, as you have explained it now, around...
Of course, yes.
Your functioning in your office.
But the functioning of my office is just tangential to the issue. Because when you see the populace complaining, and they point a cruising finger to you, say, Dr. Enikuomehin, you are part of this government. Look at the infliction of pain on us.
If you talk about the populace complaining, it could be subjective, because you are in the PDP now, and you want to naturally throw stones
you will recall
to the APC government on points of education and health. But there are other aspects of the APC government that the populace believe that the Aketi government is performing.
Just a moment. You see, so, the point is simple. I left
what is
as
the
far,
promise?
I
What is
left,
the promise, Mr. Enikuomehin? What is the promise of your new office now as Chairman Media and Publicity of the Eyitayo Jegede Campaign Organization?
I will explain. I left as far as 2018. So if it was that I needed to, because now I'm casting aspersion on PDP, PDP had nothing to offer then. They were not in government. They were not at the federal level. If I was looking for a perquisite of office, then it would mean I should have stayed with the APC. That is not Benson Enikuomehin. Benson Enikuomehin will act for what is fair, what is just, what is reasonable.
But from what you have explained, Benson Enikuomehin tends to leave when the house is on fire, and for the other camp that seems to be moving close to power or is likely to take power.
In 2019, if you say I left by 2018 November, election was held in 2019, power didn't come, I should have gone back. But you see, the analogy you gave,
the PDP managed to make some gains at the presidential election in 2019 and some National Assembly positions in 2019.
I didn't contest for any. I was not a contestant to say.
Good. So what is the promise of your new role now?
Now, the point I'm making is this. I take a decision after I would have considered the pro and con of it. Looking at the way APC was going, I felt that government, both at the national and at the state level, is not a government that I could be part of. No, not at all. Because at the end of the day, the people may pick up stones tomorrow and begin to cast at us. And rather than doing that, say, take your government, your appointment, and I went back to my job. I am a lawyer, for goodness sake. I have my office. I have a second address. My occupation is not when I write to say politician. No, I write a legal practitioner. So I have my office where I work. Therefore, when Eyitayo Jegede won the primary of the PDP in July, sometimes about a month ago, he approached me and said, we know you. Can you please handle the media and publicity aspect of this campaign? And it was quite humbling that he came to my office with the state chairman and 3 other notable leaders of the party. I didn't struggle for it. I didn't. No, he was in my office. And after that, I said, okay, sir, if you are here, why not? Let me take it up. And that is why I am doing what I'm doing now, because I believe in his cause. If there was somebody who I could have supported in 2016, ordinarily, it should have been Jegede. Why? For everything, for all events for which
I'm glad you talked about that now. So why did you rather support the APC in 2016 and not Jegede in 2016?
I will unfold everything to you. On the 18th of September 2018, I was in Jegede's office in Abuja, and I told him why I didn't support him. And I'll tell you now. I said, sir, at that time, I saw you as the face of Dr. Mimiko, because contrary to what we all had agreed or thought about, that having served for 8 years, Dr. Mimiko having served for 8 years at the Central, that he would ordinarily allow a candidate to be picked either from the South or from the North. But rather than allowing competition to take place, he single-handedly imposed Eyitayo Jegede SAN on the party? And I said no. If, for example, he had allowed everyone to participate and Eyitayo had won by reason of competition, we would say, yes, that's what the people want. But no, he imposed. And when I said democracy is not imposition, for goodness sake, I said no, it was not going to be. And so I pitched my tent with somebody who came from the north, which is Arakuni Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. And I was my former president of the Nigerian Bar Association. I'd known him for a while. He too came to my office. Himself, Abena, that's Abegunde, the chairman of APC, Engineer Eyitayo, they were in my office. This same office I'm talking about. I have a second address, my dear. I'm not the usual politician. So they came there, pleaded with me to work for them, and I did.
I'd like to know why Governor Aketi's origin as a man from the north was not enough to keep you in the party when things became awry. But that will be after the break. You're watching Fireworks. My guest today is the chairman, media and publicity of the Eyitayo Jegede Campaign Organisation and Ondo lawyer and politician Benson Enikuomehin. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Ondo election, Ondo 2020 governorship election, but with a view to recalling the events of 2018 and prior to that, and how it will affect the chances of the APC and maybe that of the PDP ahead of the 2020 governorship election. My guest today is Mr. Benson Enikuomehin, Ondo lawyer and politician, and he wears a new hat as the chairman, media and publicity of the Eyitayo Jegede Campaign Organisation. I'm sure you know, of course, that Eyitayo Jegede is the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you for your time so far.
The pleasure is mine.
So as I asked earlier, briefly, why was the origin of Mr. Rotimi Akeredolu, the incumbent, coming from the north? Why wasn't not enough to keep you in the party when things turned awry?
Well, every marriage that you go into, you have intention that that marriage should last. But if that marriage will lead to the loss of the life of one of the parties, it is preferable that the party that is threatened by reason of that marriage should pull out. I do not encourage divorce, but if it's going to lead to the loss of life, it's better you pull out. In political parlance, if you join a political party or you are in a government and you find that the government is going down the drain and you advise, and that government does not listen, the honorable thing to do, which is known wide all over the world, is to say, please, I am no longer interested. And that was what I did. The government was going that way, and it is obvious now. Very, very obvious.
The major reason, it is in the belief of some that the PDP lost the governorship election in 2016 was that it imposed a candidate, yes, which you have agreed.
That was imposition. This
now.
one, we conducted a primary.
So it's convenient that it's not an imposition now. But
no, it's a primary.
Is the party not repeating the same mistake?
No. Events have changed. The point is this. There was a primary that was held. And for your information, I did not support Eyitayo Jegede for the primary. I supported Dr. Edi Olafeso. It was him I worked for. But my own Edi Olafeso did not win. So should I jump out of the party? I'm a party man. And there was no fraud. The election was free, fair, and credible. Eyitayo had 888. My own Edi had 175. I won't pot and say, oh, I'm leaving. No. Now that the man who knew quite well that I was chief campaigner for Dr. Edi Olafeso walked to my office with the party chairman, Honorable Fatai Adams, and said, Dr. Enikuomehin, come and lead the publicity and media of my organization. And you know what that means? That whatever I say is binding on him. I'm the image maker for him. Therefore...
So besides your satisfaction as the new image maker of the Eyitayo Jegede Campaign Organisation, what else makes you convinced about Jegede's candidacy for this 2020 governorship election?
Jegede has brought out offers for the people of Ondo State in the area of education, in the area of health, in the area of security, in the area of food sufficiency and agriculture, in the area of empowerment, and in the area of one other aspect which I can't remember immediately now. You know, in law, when you make offer, you are called the offeror. The offerees are the people of Ondo State. Say, for your education, I'm slicing it down. Mine is not rhetoric. We will bring it back to where it was before. That's good news. That was what made the government of Akeredolu to say, oh, we want to reduce the amount we had charged before. This was a man that was being begged for almost about 2.5 years ago,
about your
who never changed.
Let's talk about your candidate.
My candidate, Eyitayo Jegede. Even looking at him, you find out that his mien is attractive. A senior advocate of Nigeria, former attorney general for almost 7.5 years. He is the one who the people want. I tell you, my dear sister, in 1993, you will find that there is a pattern. When MKO was contesting, there was a slogan in the country and say, on the march again, waiting for Mr. President, MKO is our man. Then in 2003, when Agagu was to contest in Ondo State, it was the sun will shine and shine and shine again. Everybody, the Ondo State will shine and shine again. Today in Ondo State, the song is simple. You will just be here, kakaki, kakaki, so the people are already attuned to Eyitayo Jegede. When we had our flag off about 2 weeks ago, Ondo State stood still. They had their own before this time. Ondo State never did not stand still for them. In fact, element of nature also taught them lesson. Rain beat them stupidly. During our time, the rain maintained the status quo until we finished. When we had finished the whole process, the rain now came and said there shall be showers of blessing. So you see, both nature and human are in support of Eyitayo Jegede in the north, in the south, in the central. The man is the acceptable candidate, and I appeal to all. My appeal is
but
this:
your candidate,
don't fight.
Your candidate remains untested and not.
The one,
well, we won't say whether he's trusted or not.
The one that is tested has failed very woefully.
Untested
the
yet.
one that is tested has failed very woefully.
We cannot assess by nature being pleasant to you. Mr. Benson, now.
In which area? Here is a man
is the
who
PDP
rose to the peak of his career.
Is the PDP jittery because of the entry of the Iroko of Ondo politics into the governorship election of 2020 in that state with the Zenith Labour Party as a third force? Is the PDP jittery over Iroko's entry into the governorship race?
This is water you intend to swim. If you know how to swim, enter the water and go and swim. Once you swim and you succeed, we say kudos to you. I'm not bothered about Iroko. Iroko is an Iroko. He stays on his own. For us, our mandate is not towards Iroko. It is towards the populace, the generality of the women in the market, the fishermen in our own area, the farmers, who are the majority of the voters. They are the ones we are talking about. Iroko can stand and do. I respect Dr. Mimiko, former governor of this state, no doubt about it. But it's not the one contesting. Here is an attorney general who, during his tenure, the laws of Ondo State were reduced into 4 volumes. Nobody did that. Nobody did that. He, during his tenure, did it. So how you mention somebody has been tested or not tested? If he was attorney general,
Iroko has a credential of winning elections in Ondo State. Aren't you worried that he's going to split the votes?
He contested. If he's going to split which vote? He's going to talk to the populace. Well, it is not the vote between PDP and APC, also PDP and what do we call it, and ZLP. No, we are talking about the populace. We are talking about people from Ondo State. So they know this, that if people like us are standing with Jegede, a man of character, nothing fishy is said about him. He rose to become a senior advocate of Nigeria. It's not a joke. And there are no blemishes about him. For goodness sake, if a David has come on board and is looking at Goliath on the face, let's give him the support.
Oh, so who's the Goliath this time?
Oh, we know them. They are the ones that are fading away.
So there are more than one Goliath?
Of course, yes. And they are fading all away. And you know, when you go to the pharmacy store, you don't buy drugs that the expiry date is about 2 days to this time. A good number of them, they are on expiry mission. Jegede is fresh. Jegede is clean. He has a clean slate. He has a clean record. And therefore, the people of the Sunshine State, we don't want to go back to the dark ages in Egypt, where there is pure darkness. You see, are we looking for the government of father, daughter, son, and wife? And you don't know how those things are managed? Is that what we're looking for? Is that what we're expecting? The Catholic government is not a government to think about. We were all praying that APC should pick Akiti. And as soon as he was picked, I went on Adaba and congratulated him. That thank God, Mr. Governor, I rejoice with you that you have now been the candidate of APC. We will meet at Philippi. And now we are going towards the Philippi. And you recall in Julius Caesar that the conspirators were shaky. So the conspirators who do not want the state to move forward educationally, health-wise, they are the ones shooting guns. You don't find guns in the hand of Jegede. Jegede's mien is clean. He's a reliable person. He's a dependable person. A dependable character. A reliable character. A man you can trust. His mien endears you. My dear, go to Ondo State and ask.
Of course, his mien is endearing now that you are chairman, media,
and he will not go down. We are going to make him as the candidate of the party. He's candidate of the party, and by the grace of God, and the support of the good people of Ondo State.
We hope your candidate will make history as your David by slaying 2 Goliaths.
Oh yes, so many of these. There we go. Do you know?
We thank you very much, Mr. Benson Enikuomehin, for your time on Fireworks and contributions. We wish you all the best in your endeavors. Thank you very much for being on the program.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
That does it on today's edition of the program. We thank you for watching. We promise you another same time next week. I am Bukola Samuel Wemimo. Bye for now.